when we talk about developing a positive mindset, we're not talking about forcing yourself to think positive. We're not talking about forcing yourself to have positive affirmations or something like that. We're more so talking about policing your thoughts until you enter what I like to call autopilot mode, right? So, what do I mean by policing your thoughts? Now, consider this. Any thought that you have in your head, regardless if it's true or not, can be destructive if it's negative, right? And it's not actually useful, right? So, let's keep that in mind. Any thought that you have, regardless if it's true or not, can be destructive and is not useful if it's on a negative note. Now, what do we mean by that? So I'll give you a cold fact of life, right? The average human lifespan is 80 years old, right? So, you know, you have 80 years in this life. Is that a fact? It's kind of a fact. Does that help you feel better about yourself? Not really. Makes you feel like you're running out of time. It makes you feel like you're wasting your life. It makes you feel like you're getting older. It doesn't really help you to worry about, what the average lifespan is. And even though that thought is true, it doesn't really, it's not really useful. It's not really useful when I start talking about your age, right? Because then it can make you feel like you're running out of time. Maybe it can make you feel like you might be too old to try a particular new thing or to indulge in a specific journey. The point is that thought is inherently negative, the way that I mentioned it. And as it's negative, it will be destructive if you keep it in your mind and it's not actually useful, right? Now, let's introduce another concept, right? Let's introduce another concept. Let's say you're 5'9", and I tell you, hey, don't worry. And I tell you, hey, you're tall or you're growing taller. Um, and I just tell you that thought. Is it true? I don't know. A lot of guys want to be 6 foot, but does it help you? It does kind of help you, right? It does kind of help you not get not focus on the thing. It does kind of get you in a mind state where you're not thinking about the thing, right? You're not self-conscious about the thing. You're not insecure about the thing, right? Which is a good thing, right? Because what happens when you get too self-conscious about something like that is, and now you're going to probably disqualify yourself from certain opportunities or speaking to certain people because you're going to start thinking, oh, I'm not tall enough though. So that's the problem when we have negative thoughts in general. You enter this mind state of where you start be thinking, oh, I may not be good enough for this opportunity, or I'm not enough. And you start disqualifying yourself from different opportunities. You pretty much start disqualifying yourself from life. And you enter this mind state where, it becomes very difficult for you to accept that something good is going to happen to you, right? So in general, you have to consider that a lot of people have a desire to seek the truth, right? I do too. I like to look at the truth, even if that truth can scare people, even if that truth is uncomfortable to look at. I do like to look at the truth sometimes. And I do like to learn about things, right? Now, but I don't let the truth destroy me. I look at the truth, I acknowledge it, I do the best that I can with what I have, and then I choose to indulge myself in thoughts that better myself, right? Regardless if they are true or not true, right? And this is something to keep in mind. A lot of guys are obsessive with finding the truth, but they do it so in a negative way. Finding the truth isn't supposed to be a bad thing, but if you're trying to find the truth in a negative way, you're going to have a focus on anything in the world that is evil, on anything in the world that does not help you become a better person, on things in the world that destroy you by thinking that, right? Some guys online, they're like, oh, okay, women only go for the top 20%, the divorce rate's 50%. I mean, even if that statistic is true, let's imagine that it's true for a second. I don't like to think about stuff like that. Even if that statistic is true, you're going to want to get it out of your head, because once you start believing in stuff like that, then you're almost going to disqualify yourself from anything positive that's about to happen to you, right? You're almost going to start to disqualify yourself from pretty much life once you start believing in it. Because now someone's going to give you a chance at something and you're going to be like, no, but I read this statistic and it's not going to work out. You don't know that. You don't even know how studies are conducted. You don't even know where statistics come from sometimes. Maybe the study was like super small and you're looking at like a bloated statistic. And sometimes, even if a relationship ends in divorce or anything like that, sometimes there was still something good that came out of it. Sometimes the couple had children, or, that relationship helped them grow. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it was a failure, right? So you're going to want to have a positive mindset and a positive framework when you look at stuff like this.